Rutger Hauer recently passed away, so I watched this film of his, which I'd not seen before, and I was really impressed. And it contains a really deep message. It's an amazing film. It's incredible. So I've done an article on it on the website, and I'm going to take you through it. The Hitcher and the Goddess. The film basically explains evil better than I've ever seen it done anywhere else, really, I think. So, theologists really struggle to explain the existence of suffering and evil in the world. But whoever made this movie, The Hitcher, understood the nature of evil perfectly. It's a genius film I've never seen before. I hate gore, and I assumed it would be gory because it's kind of like a horror film. But no, I was pleased to find it wasn't at all gory. The violence was all by implication, and it was superbly done. The basic story is a young, innocent, slightly wimpy kid, maybe 18 years old or something. He picks up a hitcher. The guy tells him he's going to kill him, and he's entirely believable. The kid is terrified. Luckily, the psycho's door isn't closed properly, and the kid managed to push him out of the car while he's still driving. Rutger tumbles along the road and lies still. The kid sees this in the rearview mirror, and he drives off jubilantly. But that's just the beginning. While I was watching it, the whole implication there was, you have to go back and finish him off, or he's just going to keep killing. And he does. And what's more, the psychopath targets the kid. He makes him his pet project. He follows him around, and he frames him as a mass murdering cop killer, by making him look guilty for all of the psycho's crimes that he did himself. He is a deadly and ruthlessly intelligent foe who seems to be playing with this kid as a cat would play with a mouse. The tension's high. It's such an engaging movie. But you can't help wishing the kid would man up a bit. He is such a wuss. At the end, the psychopath threatens the life of the kid's new girlfriend in a spectacularly showmanesque, ingenious and terrifying way. I won't spoil the movie if you've not yet seen it. Misspelling on the website there. He gives the kid a way out, which would involve him taking charge and being a man. He gives the kid a gun and says, "Shoot me." But it's a little complicated, and it doesn't work out. At some point in the movie, the kid asks the psycho, "What do you want from me?" To which he replies, "I want you to stop me." And this is the crucial central line for the whole movie. So, what does it mean? Well, the psychopath is the symbol, the embodiment of Satan. And Satan is the goddess, Yin. She is the archetype of evil. She's the archetype of inversion of the truth. The psychopath is Satan. It is Yin, the adversary. God is Yang and is good, and the goddess is Yin and she's evil. She's the archetype of the inversion of good. Satanists actually worship the goddess. Yeah, they worship the part of nature that's red in tooth and claw. The psychopath is the epitome of selfishness. They are only concerned with their own interests, seeing other people as toys to play with or food to eat or whatever. They have zero concern for the well-being of others. At least that's the way it seems. Yeah. Does something else lie behind this apparent selfishness? This is the yin mind of nature, the selfish mind of the predator or the parasite. Its law is might is right, and it carries great weight in this world. It's the primary law of this place. We all have to kill to eat in this universe. We all must have some aspect of this in ourselves. Humans are predators, after all. Bearing in mind that yin is also illusion, then we must consider that evil is an illusion somehow. She's also indirect, in darkness, ignorant of what? That she's really an indirect good? Well, let's see. What is God's purpose behind the existence of evil? This is the thorny question for all of the theists out there. So the purpose of evil is training. Life is a test. I think most people kind of know this already on some subconscious level. Yeah, but they kind of deny it to themselves, I suppose. But anyway, by coming up against evil, you have the chance to learn why you'd want to be good. It makes you internalise morality and make it your own. It helps you to develop a real independent mind of your own. Life is training people to be good. This is the ultimate result and purpose of the system. Rutger Hauer is playing the archetype of the goddess Yin, and she is the tester, the adversary, and the mother. She is the most effective teacher one could possibly imagine, and when you understand how it works, you can love her. You can love her because what she's doing is incredibly clever and incredibly helpful. So even though it seems to be evil, this is the most effective way of learning, and we have limited time, and it has to be respected. The goddess's role is to raise children to be adults, and she does this by a mixture of kindness and cruelty. Yin is many. She always has at least two different faces. She is the beautiful maiden, the spring morning, the flowering rose, and she is the spiteful crone, the harsh winter, and the rotting corpse. Her purpose is to train, and she does it in the most efficient way, combining the training and the test all into one. Because Yin is Yang on the inside, she's one on the inside. Many on the outside, but inside she is singular. All the complicated, confusing, emotional machinery of life and relationships is actually for a single purpose: to make Yin into Yang, to make the child an adult. And this is where you are. This is where we all are. So how does this manifest? Well, she says the opposite of what she means, or does the opposite of what you asked her to. She's contrary. The nursery rhyme goes as follows: Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow, with silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row? The name Mary means her rebellion. Think about that. Is this Lucifer's rebellion, by any chance? Yes indeed it is. Lucifer is Mary, is the goddess, and her garden is the whole of nature. So Yin pushes boundaries. The child is Yin to the parent, they're constantly pushing their boundaries, seeing what they can get away with. They're testing reality and you to see if you're genuine. Are you a good nut? Like the squirrels in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory who test nuts for quality by hitting them hard with their knuckles and then listening to them to see what they do. This is exactly how Yin operates. She hits you on the head, metaphorically perhaps, with a test, and then watches to see how you react to it. So like Rutger Hauer in the movie gives the kid a good metaphorical and physical rap on the head, and he just stands back to see what he'll do, with a kind of cold but genuine interest. Which leads us into the righteousness of the psychopath. So why do these folks exist? Because they are a mechanism of nature, of natural selection. They are carrying out the legitimate work of the goddess, to test and train you and I. The psychopath is just pushing your boundaries. He's testing for good nuts. If you ask the psychopath in the movie if he felt any guilt about all of the people he'd killed, he'd say something along the lines of, here we go, the judge says, do you feel any remorse for these terrible crimes? The psychopath says, no way, it was the kid's fault. He could have stopped me at any time. He should have been a man. I gave him every opportunity to stop me. Hell, I even gave him a gun and I even helped him point it in my face. He just cried like a baby. Man, he couldn't even save that beautiful girl's life. Man, she was really nice. I liked her. What a useless waste of space that kid is. I did everything I could to help him. He's the one who should be on trial, not me. And you can see the logic behind that view. The kind of logic. They have a kind of a justification. The kid could have stopped him, and he should have. He'd shirked his duty as a human being by letting the predator / rabid dog live, whereas the psycho hadn't shirked his duty. He'd done exactly what the goddess had told him to do. So who was in the right? What's more, the psycho was openly disappointed by the kid's pathetic efforts. He genuinely wanted the kid to stop him. He hoped he would, because then the kid would have passed the test, and that actually would have made him happy. On some level, he loved that kid. He cared about his development as a human being with such passion, he was willing to die for it. Think about that. But then, true psychopaths have no interest or regard for death. They have zero fear and zero conception of death. It's not important to them. What is important is seeing what they can get away with, testing other people and doing the goddess's work. They are agents of chaos. They say that Satan can do nothing of his own accord. Well, this is because evil is passive. It cannot exist in the existence of good, because good is active. The world has turned to evil by becoming passive. People remain in a childish state, which is yin, selfish, ignorant, destructive, instead of growing up. Evil can only exist when it's not resisted. Evil works by suggestion. Being passive, it has no agency, so must rely on tricking yang into bringing it to life. Know that yin is death, and so this is a form of necromancy. When you bring evil to life, you are giving yin a body, and yin is death, so you become the walking dead, a zombie, disconnected from life, which is yang. Evil is the snake whispering to Eve in the Garden of Eden. It whispered. It didn't force her to eat it. It didn't stand there with a Kalashnikov. It suggested politely, and with an air of authority. Wars are not planned or profited from by the people who fight them. Those people are persuaded to fight. Almost all evil is enabled by getting good people to turn from what they know inside is actually right to do something that they know is wrong, usually for money, and usually by consent. Okay, a hitcher is passive. A hitchhiker. The title shows an understanding by the film's creator of the principles of the Tao. The whole film does actually. It's very deep. It's great. The hitcher's not doing anything much. He's just standing there, by the side of the road with his thumb up. He's passive. He's yin. He wants to receive. The kid is driving and has all the power, so he is active and yang. When the kid decides to stop and give him a lift, though, it turns the tables and switches the roles. The kid actually wanted something from him because he was drifting off to sleep. He was tired, and Rutger, the psycho, offered company, which the kid wanted to help him stay awake. And it certainly did that, yeah. He'll probably never sleep again. So the psycho gave him what he wanted. The kid wanted to be yin to receive something, and by accepting an offer, you become yin, the receiver, the child, the pupil. You put yourself squarely in the jurisdiction of the offerer. They become your yang provider. And this symbolises that evil has to be accepted and enabled. It has to be activated. The vampire has to be invited in. Of course, in summary, reincarnation must exist for there to be justice for each individual spirit at some time in its existence. Without reincarnation, one could not explain evil satisfactorily. Spirit is relatively infinite and eternal, and reincarnation looks very likely. Psychopaths and evil people are legitimate representatives of the goddess. That's why they exist. They are natural selection in action. But it's also a selection of spirit, not just matter, perhaps not even matter. And on some level, they actually do have your best interest at heart, hard as it may be to believe. They want you to be an adult, to grow up, and to take charge. That's what they secretly want. They genuinely want you to stop them. That is their purpose, to be stopped. And if you don't, then they will keep pushing the boundaries until you do, as night follows day. This is inevitable. Just as if you have a child you never discipline, or an employee whose work you never check, they will inevitably turn into representations of the worst archetypes. So, anyway, another note, yang has duties, yin has rights. So as yang, you have duties. You have to do the right thing at all times. And also, watch the film. It's great. You can see it on BitChute. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you later.